I promise, guys, I'm going to try to make this as non-cliche as possible, but you have to start loving yourself. Good morning, guys. Maddie Q here, bringing you another motivational video. Please like and subscribe. Welcome to the newcomers. Said that pretty backwards, but oh well. If you want more content similar to this, hit the notifications bell and you'll be notified every time I upload this self-help and motivational content. And let's get right into the purpose of this video, which is to love yourself. Love yourself. We hear that advice a lot and it starts sounding cliche, especially when we don't know how to love ourselves or why it is so important to love yourself. It can be like being told to go somewhere specifically. If I just named a random town that you never heard of, and I tell you, hey, go here, and you don't have a map, you don't have Google Maps or anything, and you're just like, okay, you keep telling me to go here, but how does that help me? And I'm like, well, just go there and it'll help you. You have no idea where this place is, never heard of it. You're just lost and you don't understand why people keep telling you to go to this city and why it will help you. And you're like, well, I feel like I'm living my life just fine, just and successfully without going to this city. So why should I ever go there? And it gets very, very confusing. I know I've been there. People tell you have to love yourself before you can expect love from somebody else, and we don't get it. You're like, why? I love this person. I don't have to love myself to love this person. And it just doesn't make any sense whatsoever to a person who doesn't love themselves. And I've been there, so I know exactly why it sounds so cliche and why you get frustrated with people who are telling you that you can't love the next person and you can't be loved by the next person because you don't love yourself. So let me break it down for you. The relationship that you have with yourself is basically, let's say, it is like the dress rehearsal for the relationship that you have with other people. Think of it like a mirror. The relationship you have with yourself is going to reflect back in every relationship you have with other people. People are just mirrors for ourselves and for our emotions. If you break it down and start analyzing your relationships, a lot of people are good at holding themselves accountable and taking a critical look at their own actions. You have to learn how to take your emotions out of what you do and analyze them without emotion. You can't get in your feelings because you're not going to get an accurate description of yourself. Well, it's kind of hard to get an accurate description of yourself from yourself anyway. But if you're getting in your feelings every time you think of your actions, it's going to be even harder. You got to take your emotions out of it and look and actually take a look at yourself. It might hurt, but you got to get as realistic as possible and as emotionless as possible when you're analyzing your actions, so that you can actually see what you're doing and what you're saying to the people you say that you love. Because a lot of us will glaze over that. If you're very critical with yourself and within your relationship with yourself, that is how you're going to be in your other loving relationships. The love you have for yourself is what you give other people. It is like a bank account, guys. And I've said this in another video before. A lot of you, it might not be clicking. I cannot write a check for love if I don't have any love in my love bank account. So if you're not loving yourself, you have no love to give, guys. The same quality of love that you have for yourself is what you have to give other people. It is impossible to love somebody more than you love yourself. You can say that, yes, it sounds pretty nice, but ultimately the love you have for yourself is what you give other people. A lot of times you give them a lot less than what you have to give yourself, which is mostly the case. You cannot pour from an empty cup. So just think of it like we're pouring tea. You're the big teapot that we just brewed, and the love that you're pouring out, it's limited. I cannot give you more tea in your teacup than I have in that teapot. It's impossible. It is impossible. So that love has to come from somewhere. And if you don't have it within yourself to give, you're not giving it. So it starts with you. You are the teapot. You fill yourself up with love by loving yourself, and you pour out into other people's cups. A lot of us have heard that saying before. You cannot pour from an empty cup. And you see this a lot when people, they are telling you they love other people more than they love themselves. Look at the actions. A lot of times they are just enabling that person that they claim to love more than themselves. That's not love. Enabling someone is not love, guys. A lot of you don't realize that because you feel like you want this person to be comfortable, and that is not love. That is enabling. There's a difference. This person is self-destructing themselves. And because you allow yourself to be self-destructive, you allow people around you that you claim to love to be self-destructive. That is why the love that you have for yourself is what you give other people. A lot of these people that I've heard say they love their children more than they love themselves, they have diseases that are related to the certain foods that they eat. They still eat this, and they still allow their children to eat it as well. Where is the love that they said they had for their children, where they love their children more than they love themselves? It just wasn't there. It was not possible. The same mistake that they're repeating within their own lives, they allow their children to repeat. So a lot of people have to cut pork out of their diets because of high blood pressure. It's a good example. And high blood pressure running in your family. You have grandparents, parents, aunts, uncles, all high blood pressure, siblings with high blood pressure. Yours is creeping up there, but it's not quite there yet. You're still eating pork, and you're feeding it to your children. Where is the love that you said you had for your children that you did not have for yourself? It's not possible. I'm telling you, it's not possible. And if you analyze your actions, this is just one thing. Diet is one thing. There are other aspects to relationships besides what you're eating. So you're going to have to fill in the blanks a little bit. There are habits. Sometimes we are around people and they're smoking and we don't say anything. And we all know that cigarette smoke is bad for a person. You know, it's bad for your lungs, causes cancer, causes multiple types of cancers, not just lung cancer. And we don't say anything. We don't try to educate them. We don't try to help them. A lot of times we enable them. So that is another thing. You don't have to constantly be harping at someone to change. At the same time, you don't have to enable them by buying these things for them and providing them with these things. You don't have to do that. So you just have to make a choice and recognize what love actually is. It is not enabling. There's a pretty good description of love in the Bible, which has been probably one of the most accurate ones I've ever seen. I know a lot of people don't like the Bible, but you don't have to be a Christian to read it, because they have a very good description of love in there. And it says, love is patient, love is kind. I am paraphrasing, so don't get mad at me. Love is not jealous, it's not prideful, it's not boastful, it's loyal, long-suffering. So, with that being said, I think a lot of you could benefit from reading that and understanding that what you are showing to people is not really love. You're showing them your feelings of animosity, of jealousy, of bitterness. The same feelings that you are showing yourself, that is what you are giving people. Not saying that if you get jealous, you don't love people. I'm just saying in that moment, because love is also an action, guys. It's not just a feeling. In that moment, when you're jealous, you are choosing jealousy over loving that person, because you can either love them, talking about the action, not the feeling. You can either have love for that person or you can feel jealousy. So, you can be loyal or you can love. I mean, God, you can be disloyal or you can love. Yeah. You can be kind, or you can choose not to love this person and be unkind. So, a lot of us get caught up in the feelings and we'll say, oh, we still love someone even if we're being unkind to them. And you have to realize love is an action as well as a feeling. And so action, you cannot love someone and be unkind to them at the same time. You just can't. In that moment that you're being unkind, you are making a decision not to love that person. So just take a moment to think about that and start applying this to your relationship with yourself. Because if you're honest, the same things you allow within your own life, the same negativity that you allow within your own life, the same unloving actions you allow within your own life, you allow it into the lives of the people that you claim to love. Go through, not a Bible thumper, but how do you need to go through and read those Bibles and look at that description of love? I have to get that quote later. Probably link it in the description, or just put it in the description. You guys need to read that description of love, and you need to think about all the ways you are unloving to yourself, and reflect back on your relationships with other people, and you will see that in the same ways you're unloving to yourself, you are unloving to other people. A lot of us don't want to admit that. We want to believe that we can love other people and treat ourselves, mentally treat ourselves in a certain way, but it's going to seep out and it's going to get into your relationships with other people, because you're going to treat them the same way you treat yourself in one way, shape, or form. They are only human just like you. Nobody can be perfect, and a lot of times we put pressure on people to be these perfect people, but they're going to make the same mistakes that you make, and you're going to handle them the same way you handle yourself when you make those mistakes. So let's work on loving ourselves so that we can be better for the people around us, so that we can be better for our children. A lot of us are doing things that are very bad for our bodies, and we know it, and then we allow our children to do it. Which another example I've seen is parents who smoke and they allow their children to start smoking at early ages, or parents who drink alcohol and they allow their children to drink alcohol, sometimes underage. We allow the same things within their lives that we allow in our lives. So, better quality of love for yourself equals better quality of love for the people around you. If you don't take anything else from this video, please take that. I hope I did a good job of explaining this, because I remember being lost whenever people said, you have to love yourself before you love anyone else. And it gets very, very annoying if you don't understand exactly what they're talking about. So with that being said, I'm out of here, guys. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Share this with someone who you feel can use a helpful video on loving themselves. And I will see you guys in the next video.